ilẹ̀ wa ń sunkún lábẹ́ ìrìn. Àwọn bàbá wa ń wò wá lókè, wọ́n filẹ̀ yìí sí ọwọ́ wa. Ṣùgbọ́n a gbàgbé ohun tí wọ́n ń sọ. À ń jagun ara wa lójú ọ̀nà. À ń ta ìtàn wa lọ́wọ́. Bí a kò bá rántí ibi tá a ti ń bọ̀, báwo la ṣe máa mọ ibi tá a lọ? Ẹ̀jẹ̀ àwọn bàbá ṣì ń pè wá nínú afẹ́fẹ́ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Ohùn ilẹ̀ ń ké pé má ṣe gbàgbé ẹni tí ó jẹ́. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a gbé ilẹ̀ wa ga. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a dá àṣà wa bọ̀. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a mọ ara wa dáadáa. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a bá ìtàn wa kọ́.
We can't hear you, sir.
Ṣé tí ń gbọ́ mi nísìn?
Yes.
All right. Ẹ káalẹ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin wa láti ibikíbi gbogbo tẹ́ tí ń gbọ́ mi káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè àgbáyé. You are all welcome in the name of Olodumare to our Yoruba nationalism series tonight. Orúkọ tèmi ni Abiodun Bakare, and tonight we will discuss a subject that is often misunderstood, emotionally charged, and increasingly relevant in today's world, which is topic titled Self-Preservation is Not Bigotry. Pẹ̀lú mi ní àṣálẹ́ ni Brother Stephen is a new face. You're seeing him tonight. Brother Stephen, you are welcome to join me in the studio tonight. Ẹ káàbọ̀. Can you say hello to àwọn aráalé?
Thank you very much, sir. Orúkọ mi ni Stephen Adegbile, and I'm happy to be here tonight. Thank you very much, sir.
Ẹ ṣeun. Thank you very much. And pẹ̀lú wa ní ex-handle wa is Sister Anike, pẹ̀lú àwọn co-host ẹ̀ lọ́hùn. Kí tó pe Sister Anike àti àwọn co-host lọ́hùn láti wá sọ̀rọ̀ fún wa. Ẹ jọ̀ọ́, all of us who are on Twitter space tonight, kindly retweet the space so that the algorithm of Brother Elon Musk á lè gbé nǹkan tá à ń ṣe sọ́dọ̀ àwọn tí ó yẹ kó ń gbọ́ wa káàkiri orílẹ̀-èdè àgbáyé. Ẹ ṣeun gan ni, thank you very much. Ẹ̀yin náà tí wà lórí YouTube àti àwọn tí wà náà tó wà lórí Facebook lọ́hùn, akí gbogbo yín àti Àjọkáyàdé, ẹ káàbọ̀ ní àṣálẹ́. Thank you very much. Please, all our listeners and viewers worldwide, kindly retweet this space either from Twitter, from Facebook, and from YouTube, and even TikTok, so that gbogbo aráyé wọ́n lè péjọpọ̀ pẹ̀lú wa ní àṣálẹ́ láti gbọ́ ohun tí olórí wa ààrẹ Bolarinwa wọ́n máa ní láti bá wa sọ. Kí n tó tẹ̀síwájú ní ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo máa sọ, jẹ́ kí n kí àwọn ará Twitter lọ́hùn. Àǹtí Àníkẹ́ ṣe wa mẹ́ṣẹ́ ń gbọ́ wa o.
Can she increase her volume a little bit?
Ààrẹ ní kẹ́ ẹ gbé ohùn yín sókè o, ká lè gbọ́ yín dáadáa o.
I thought we...
àǹtí Àníkẹ́ ẹ gbóhùn sókè ẹ gbóhùn sókè. Ìjà rẹ̀ ṣe ń gbọ́ wọn ló sì lò ó lò gan
It's still faint.
ó lò. Ó dé láàdú lọ́dọ̀ mi ó láàdú níbí.
Okay.
Ẹ ṣeun àǹtí Àníkẹ́, thank you very much. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí àǹtí Àníkẹ́ yìí sọ, ohun tí a máa gbéyẹ̀wò ní àṣálẹ́ yìí is self-preservation is not bigotry. Every people on earth instinctively seek to preserve what defines them. Their language, their culture, their homeland, their institutions, and the opportunities they leave for their future generations. Nations enact immigration laws, communities protect their heritage, and their societies invest in ensuring that their identity endures. Yet, when indigenous people speak about protecting their own interests, they are sometimes accused of intolerance or bigotry. Àwọn àgbẹ̀ làwọn agbólórí Twitter pé you are an ethnic kinikan bigot, you are kinikan kinikankan. This raises an important question. Where is the line between self-preservation and discrimination? Can a people protect their identity without denying the rights and dignity of others? For the Yoruba nation, this conversation is not about hostility toward anyone. It's about understanding that openness should never require the abandonment of self and that coexistence should not come at the cost of cultural survival or political irrelevance. Tonight, a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run pé Elédùmarè pé ààrẹ wà pẹ̀lú wa ní àṣálẹ́. And we are privileged to be led by our president, Bolarinwa, Oladimeji, as we examine this important subject with history, reason, and respect. Ẹ̀yin ará ilé, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ gbọ́ wa láti orílẹ̀-èdè àgbáyé, you're welcome to Self-Preservation is Not Bigotry. Ààrẹ Bolarinwa, you're welcome. Ẹ káàbọ̀, ẹ káalẹ́, ṣé àlàáfíà lẹ wà o?
Mo kí gbogbo wa o. I've been itching because a lot of people have been expecting a lot of fireworks about how today is going to be, and today is going to be great. Once again, I want to greet you, Mr. Bakari Abiodun, for the job you're doing, sir, for the wonderful conversation. I also want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Stephen, who is joining us for the first time today. We are so grateful to have you around, Mr. Stephen. God will continue to be with you, and God will continue to fortify you as you join us in this journey of nationalism. If you also believe you also want to join us in having this conversation, and you believe people you see here are volunteers, so you believe you can volunteer 2 hours every Saturday, you can always reach out to us. We need as many people as possible. I also want to thank the wonderful people on X, on Twitter Space.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká ní sùúrù, ààrẹ ń bọ̀. That's just a technical glitch. Ààrẹ padà bọ̀ láìpẹ́. Àǹtí Lọlá, mo fi taratara mo fi kí yín o, mo fi tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀ kí yín o. Àǹtí Lọlá Adésínà lórí X náà ni wọ́n wà. Thank you very much for joining us as co-host tonight. nígbà tá a máa ń dúró de ààrẹ láti wá darapọ̀ mọ́ wa, jẹ́ ká gbórin díẹ̀.
Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a gbé ilẹ̀ wa ga. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan, kí a dá àṣà wa bọ̀. Kí a ronú
Ǹjẹ́ àti ẹ̀ mọ̀ wípé
kí a mọ ara wa
àwọn ará tí wọ́n bá kọ̀ láti dáàbò bo identity wọn, orílẹ̀-èdè wọn, kí wọ́n lè safeguard their collective interest, they lose the risk of losing 3 things, and those 3 things we are gonna lose or we can lose is our identity. Ohun tó jẹ́ ká fi yàtọ̀ sí gbogbo ènìyàn. Homeland, ilẹ̀ wa, àti our collective interest, nǹkan tó jẹ wá lógún jù nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Tá a bá ti ṣe kíni, tá a bá ti sowọ́pọ̀ láti dáàbò bo nǹkan mẹ́ta yìí, a máa lose ẹni. Bí kéèyàn dáàbò bo nǹkan tí ó ní kì í ṣe, it's not about being hateful or with hatred, and it's not about being discriminating, of others. Òǹkọ́ àtọ̀, òǹkọ́. Ààrẹ tí ń bọ̀ díẹ̀díẹ̀, ó dà pé ní tokun tí ó ń ṣe ségesège, wọ́n ti fẹ́ parí, ó ti fẹ́ dé nsìn. Self-preservation is not hatred, okay? It is not discrimination. It is a natural responsibility of every people to ensure that their future generations inherit their culture, history, institutions, and the opportunities tó wà lórí ilẹ̀ yẹn. Tẹ́ bá wo ìtàn Yorùbá, ààrẹ ti dé. Ààrẹ, you back fully now? Your mic. Mi gbọ́ yín o.
ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yóò tún rọ̀. Ohùn bàbá ń ké lọ́run. Ẹ má ṣe gbàgbé ara yìí. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan. Kí a ronú Yorùbá kọ̀ọ̀kan.
As I was saying earlier, that self-preservation is not hatred and it is not discrimination. It is a natural responsibility of every people to ensure that future generations inherit their culture, their history, their institutions, and their opportunities. Àwọn tó fẹ́ palẹ̀ Yorùbá run sí wọn ní pé oúnjẹ Nàìjíríà rèé. Kò dé kí n ṣe oúnjẹ Nàìjíríà, àkàrà ń ṣe oúnjẹ Nàìjíríà, gèlè kì í ṣe aṣọ Nàìjíríà, agbádá yìí ń ṣe aṣọ Nàìjíríà o, aṣọ Yorùbá ni. Ojúde ọba kì í ṣe ti Nàìjíríà, ti Yorùbá ni. Wọ́n ní kò sí bí bàbá tí wọ́n ṣe máa ní oko tí ò ní láàlà. So we are not talking about hating people or discriminating against people. We're just talking about nǹkan tèmi. Tí mo bá protect nǹkan mi, tí mo bá gbé nǹkan mi lárugẹ, why should you tag me as a bigot? No, at all. Bọ̀dá Stephen, jẹ́ nǹkan tẹ́ fẹ́ sọ kó tó di pé ààrẹ adé sọ́dọ̀ wa.
Thank you very much, sir. Just to emphasize on the fact that self-preservation is very important everywhere we go, whether it's Europe, North America, everywhere. So don't let anybody, manipulate you emotionally for trying to engage in self-preservation. It's very important. Thank you very much, sir.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni, Mr. Stephen. ẹ jọ látòrí Twitter lọ́hùn àwọn tó wá gbọ́ Yorùbá dára nínú wa tó ń mú Yorùbá jù mí lọ jẹ́ kí ló ń pè ní preservation lẹ̀ Yorùbá kí ni èdè kí ni nǹkan tí Yorùbá ń pè ní preservation. àǹtí Àníkẹ́ ẹ bá gbé wọn wá sókè o tí a bá rí ẹnikẹ́ni tó mọ ìtumọ̀ preservation. If you want to speak, please come up. Mi ò bí ẹ̀ mú bí àwọn aráàlú ni àjèjì ni wọ́n ń tiẹ̀. Ó fara pẹ́ díẹ̀. Mo ń gbọ́ ó lè ń dáhùn. Gbà á kẹ̀.
ọ̀nà tí ìran òfin ní parẹ́ ní self preservation. báwo lè wọ́n ṣe lè in the concept of Yoruba nationalism kí ni àwọn nǹkan tí a lè classify as self preservation. ṣé ó dàbí pé àwọn èèyàn gan ń náwó ẹ bá gbé Madam Adoke Adébásókè. Madam Adoke ṣé ibi bigotry yẹn àbí kí ni àwọn èèyàn máa ń pè bigotry bí náà tó ń pè bigotry bí ni pé téèyàn ò bá ti sọpọ́ọ̀tì opinion wọn àbí candidate wọn àbí àwọn nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn èèyàn ti bigot nìyẹn. So whereas self preservation ni báwo pé ọmọ èèyàn ò lè sọlẹ̀ ṣèdí ní láàrin nǹkan.
bẹ̀rẹ̀
kó lọ gbélẹ̀kẹ̀ sí ìdí ọmọ ẹlòmíì ìgbọ́dẹ́ pé rí àìdí ẹ̀gbọ́n skinny ju ìdí ọmọ ìlú lọ. So I think it also begs the question.
Ààrẹ ń bá ọ ni.
Kind of
I'm back.
This issue of self-preservation versus bigotry. At what point does it become bigotry?
Ó dáa ẹ ṣeun mà a máa tẹ̀síwájú lórí àwọn ìbéèrè yẹn àti contribution. Thank you very much for making the space lively. Ààrẹ ti padà ń sin ààrẹ káàbọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí.
Ẹ ṣé.
You're welcome.
Ẹ ṣé. I'm so sorry, everyone. I've been having internet issues, and I don't know what's going on. But today it's the day that we're surely going to speak about this powerful and important topic. I want to really thank all the production crew of this powerful program that have been able to ensure that everything is still running. I'm so sorry. So today is a very wonderful day. Like I said, shout out to everybody listening to us on Facebook. Shout out to everybody listening to us on TikTok from all over the world. Shout out to people watching that are on X Space. Shout out to people that are on YouTube. We are really, really grateful. It promises to be very, very interesting today. And it promises to be very, very educative. And it promises to be very, very enlightening. Today, we are discussing a very powerful topic, which is self-preservation bigotry. What is the definition of bigotry? Is the definition of bigotry in the UK the same as the definition of bigotry in Nigeria? Is the definition of bigotry relative or universal? Or bigotry has a different meaning within the Nigerian context or the African context or the global South context? Why should the Scottish people in United Kingdom be proud Scots? They even have a Scottish nationalist political party. And why should the Irish, who are in Northern Ireland, who support Sinn Féin political party, be proud Irish? and nobody is accusing them of tribalism. Nobody's accusing them of bigotry. And should we also categorize those that are the Welsh, Welsh nationalists who are proud to be people who are proud to be Welsh in United Kingdom? Why are we not categorizing them as tribalists? Why is it that we categorize our people as tribalists or bigots when they say they want to identify with their ethnicity? They want to self-preserve. They want to speak Yoruba language. They want Yoruba language to be the language of science and technology. Why are they victimized? Those are the kind of questions, rhetorical questions, that sometimes you start thinking and rethinking, and you start asking yourself, what does one Nigeria actually means? What does it mean? Does it mean the erasure and destruction of our people? What does Pan-Africanism means? Does it mean the erasure of the Yoruba people? What does one Nigeria means to some people? Does it mean the subjugation and destruction of the Yoruba people? So these are the kind of questions we need to ask ourselves. And that's why we are asking this question: is self-preservation by bigotry? Please, I am begging us, before we go deep into this conversation, I want us to please help us to share, help us to send this share to as many people as possible, because tonight is going to be very, very interesting. Tonight is going to be very enlightening as usual, and tonight is going to be very, very educative. This message is not meant for 20, 30, 40 people. This message is meant for tens of thousands of people. This message is meant to be spread throughout the world. Millions of people, not just the Yoruba people, must hear this message. I'm talking about indigenous people across the world. From a few weeks ago, I read about a particular topic. I read about a particular news when the indigenous Native Australians, the Aboriginals of Australian mainland and Tasmania, were requesting, were protesting, were lobbying for their existence to be recognized within the Australian Constitution. Australia, as we know it, used to belong to certain people, the indigenous people. But with the arrival of English settlers from the British Empire from England, they conquered that land, they subjugated the natives, and took over the land from the people. Ever since then, the indigenous people of the native Australians have lost the ability to be able to control their land. They've lost the ability to be able to dictate the politics of their land. They've lost the ability to be able to control their destiny. So ever since this happened, native aborigines, the aborigines of Australia, have become a third class and fourth class status. Despite all the wealth of Australia, despite all the riches of Australia, the settlers, the immigrants, are far, far more prosperous than the indigenous people. And they have to start lobbying for the constitution to even defend them. The question you have to ask yourself is this: as a Yoruba man, you listening to me, do we want to reach this level that we need to be looking for laws in order to be able to protect us as indigenous people in our land before we can be able to profess our Yorubaness? I gave the history of Australia, even though what happened in Australia was genocide, cultural erasure of the people, political erasure of the people, and the destruction of the people. If you can no longer you have to take permission from settlers, from immigrants, to be able to defend your land, to be able to safeguard your land, to be able to practice your faith, to be able to speak, to be able to have equal rights, to be even be recognized by the Constitution, then you are no longer visible on that land. You have been erased, you have been genocided, you have been destroyed. And this is the case of what happened to the native Australians, which they are called, they are otherwise called the Aborigines of Australia. That is a classical case of what happens when demography changes, What happens when immigrants take over your place? When the natives are pushed into the interiors? When the natives are pushed out of their homeland? Now, I gave you an example of Australia. The same thing happened in many places in the Middle East. The same thing happened all over North America. The same thing happened all over South America. The same thing happened in Darfur. The same thing happened in Jos. The same thing happened in many places in the Middle Belt. The same thing happened to many Yoruba cities after the fall of your empire. The same thing happened in many places in Europe. So we need to understand that it is this reality of history that makes self-preservation by indigenous people a must. Because if you do not self-preserve your land, if you do not self-preserve your identity, you are going to become victims, eternal victims of merciless immigrants as a class. Even hell has its own borders. Even heaven has gates. And the reason for these gates, the reason for these borders is to ensure that those who built the cities, the indigenous people of the cities, are not displaced, are not destroyed. The world, the history of the world is built by conquest, is built by different, conquest. People are being replaced from their homeland. So let's go further now to properly expatiate self-preservation. And I'm going to be explaining self-preservation by juxtaposing many multi-ethnic societies, many multi-ethnic cities, many multi-ethnic countries in the world. Those who argue that once you say you want to speak Yoruba language, you want to protect your land, you want to protect the honor of your kings, those who regard you as backward people, those who regard you as traitors, those who regard you as uncivilized, and they cite Sena climes. When they talk about Sena climes, they use they use secular colonial countries like United States of America and Canada as case study, or they start using Western democracy, Europe as case study. Oftentimes, you will never see people who want indigenous people to be wiped off the surface of the earth using China, using India, using Thailand, using Japan, using many of the successful and prosperous Southeast Asian countries as case study. So this is not about ignorance. It's about a group of people who actually understand what they are doing. And we need to now come back from this generalistic introduction that I've just made for us to actually understand what is going on in Nigeria and what is going on all over Africa. And where is this diabolical ideology that when indigenous African ethnic nations, indigenous African civilizations start talking about self-preserving and protecting their heritage, it becomes bigotry by some fellow African groups who hide under Blackism, the colonial borders of Africa, to be able to justify this evil that they call patriotism. There are many multi-ethnic countries in Europe, and there are many multi-ethnic countries in Asia. I'm going to be using Switzerland, Belgium, United Kingdom. Those are my wonder if Italy as examples in Western Europe, and I'm going to be using India as my example in Asia. Why am I using these examples? I'm using this example because these are countries that have a lot of similarities with Nigeria and many African countries. Because the danger of this narrative that some people are banding around, which they call patriotism, is that if it is not challenged, it is going to lead Africa and Nigeria into an eternal state of civil war. Let me tell you something. When after the 1884 Berlin West African Conference and Western nations came in, created the colonial borders, and they created the countries that we call African countries today. Something happened. And what happened? What happened was that after the Europeans left, and these countries, quote unquote, got a form of independence, those countries have not been in a state of peace. Most African countries have been in a state of war about borders ever since then. And most of the wars in Africa are not fought between countries to countries. Most of the instability within Africa, in Africa, has always been civil wars. Because what the Europeans actually did was to bring many kingdoms and empires that have been at war with each other for centuries, forcefully match them together in the same country, gave one part some privileges, wrote rules, and they just left them alone and ran away. And that was what led to instability and inability of Africa and African countries to grow and become prosperous. This is the bitter truth. A lot of people talk about, whether maybe Africans are not capable of building prosperity for themselves. That is not true. It is because there are some anomalies and there are some disparities in the civilization that make up most of the African countries, which has made it very difficult for them to homogenize, to be able to have a united front for economy, for technology, for politics, for geopolitics, and for anything. Which is why we must ask ourselves if the diversity in Africa is the problem. How have they been able to manage the diversity in Europe? Because we have so many prosperous, multi-ethnic, multi-nation, multi-tribal democracies and societies in Europe, yet these countries are very prosperous. They are not dying of malaria. There's 24-hour electricity. There's no civil war. We can see the bickerings between the French, the Germans, the Dutch in Belgium. We can see the French, the Italians, the Germans, the Romans in Switzerland when they bicker against each other. But we've not seen them taking guns like what happened in Yugoslavia, killing themselves. And Yugoslavia is another good example of how we are going of what Nigeria might become if we continue to pamper lies, if we continue to pamper injustice, if we continue to spread propaganda, which we call intellectualism. Because what many people actually spread as patriotism and intellectualism is actually propaganda. Nigeria has been a very lucky country because there are 3 countries that looks like Nigeria that the British created. India, 2 many disparate civilizations, hostile civilizations within India. And those countries, I'm talking about colonial India, pre-colonial India. Pre-colonial India. The Pakistanis, the Bangladesh, and India. They broke apart. What about Sudan? That was a bloodbath. And we have so many Nigerians that have the same ideology, like the Pakistanis, like the Hindus, like the Bangladeshi, like the North Arab Sudanese within Nigeria. They even openly attack and speak against the secularism of Nigeria. They even believe that they are born to rule, that they ought to continue to dominate and rule Nigeria. They even ask for Lebensraum. What do I mean by Lebensraum? They asked for Lebensraum by asking for lands for nomadic Fulanis all across Nigeria, for hell they are not going to stop killing indigenous people. Or what about another group that believes that it can use pen and paper to conquer the whole of Nigeria by saying that they must erase indigenous rights and replace it with residency rights in order to homogenize Nigeria? That is the most diabolical, that is the most vindictive, that is the most disingenuous argument for a united Nigeria ever. So let's go to Switzerland. Switzerland is a multi-ethnic society, is a multi-ethnic country. And it has been one of the most prosperous country in the first 10 or first 5 prosperous country for the past 50 years. Even it was able to escape the wars of First World War and Second World War. Even when there was war all over Europe, Switzerland did not participate in it. It has been one of the most stable countries in the world. How can Italians and French and Germans be living in peace in the same country? How have they been able to do it? And what they've been able to do is what we call ethno-linguistic federalism, where in as much that everybody is Swiss and everybody is from Switzerland, they are not telling the Germans to stop being German in order to propagate the Swiss ideology. They are not telling the French to stop being French in order to promote Swiss nationalism. They didn't tell the Italians to dim the light of their Italianness in order to be able to preach, to profess what they call Swiss patriotism. They didn't do that. And they did not even say that even though the Romans people, the Roma people that are close to 2% of the population, an insignificant minority, are not treated like top-class citizens. And everybody, the German, you go to the German part of Switzerland, they speak German. If you are an Italian Swiss and you leave your Italian region of Switzerland, you travel to the German-speaking part of Switzerland. You go there, you don't tell the Germans to stop speaking German. You integrate into the indigenous society, and you are not looking for how you are going to transfer 1 million voters because of the freedom of movement, and transfer 1 million voters and say you want to transfer it to the German-speaking part of Switzerland and take it over. That's how the Swiss have been able to build a prosperous society. Let me also say this. One of the things that have even made the European Union a success is that none of the ethnic nations within the European Union is looking for a way to say they want to move from Spain and weaponize Western democracy and go to Poland, transfer 3 million voters from Spain to Poland and say you want to go and conquer Warsaw using democratic conquest, rather, coup d'etat. I hope I'm making sense, because as a Spanish, as somebody from Spain, you can leave Spain and go to Poland, get there. We don't need visa. You just need to register and you can live there. That is what the European Union is. And that system has been working because we don't have the situation in Nigeria where some people transferred over 500,000 voters from the southeast and transferred it to the southwest in order to conquer Lagos and conquer Yoruba land. So that behavior and that characteristics in the first place it's a threat to the unity and survival of Nigeria. For anybody to have that level of agenda, and when you understand, when we have the history, one of the reasons for the war of the 1967 to 1970 war, which was the Nigerian Civil War, was the fight because of a fight between the indigenous people trying to say they want to protect their politics. What led to the Civil War was already the minority agitations actually destabilized Nigeria. The reason why Nigeria is a little bit stable is because of the minority agitation has been reduced. They gave them states and they are giving them more shares of their oil wealth. One of the things that is currently destabilizing Nigeria is because the Hausa Fulani Kanuri majority wants to overrun and displace and replace the minorities in Southern Kaduna, in Jos, in Nasarawa, in Niger State, in Kogi State. And this has evolved. This is showing itself in form of banditry, in form of different things. Boko Haram and Saru, Islamic jihadism and Islamic fundamentalism. And another new concept, which I call the jihadization of banditry. What the people you call banditry have now, many of them have embraced Islamist ideology, which has made this insecurity very, very deadly to the rest of us. Let me also come back home and see why all of a sudden there is ethnic tension between the indigenous Yoruba people and the Igbos. Why? It is because of the politics that was started by Nnamdi Azikiwe in the First Republic, where Nnamdi Azikiwe felt it is the divine right of the Igbos to control the politics of the Southwest. And unfortunately, that ideology did not die with him. There are so many young Igbos who also harbor this ideology, and they want to continue to believe that the Yoruba space and the Yoruba land should be co-owned, co-shared, co-ruled via the quote-unquote one Nigerian structure with the indigenous Yoruba people. That is why they continue to attack any form of Yoruba nationalism, Yoruba nationhood, Yoruba civilization, and even appropriating Yoruba identity and Yoruba culture. So these are the issues. We also see the same thing that is happening in Warri between the Shekiris, the Ijos, and the Yorubos, where the Shekiris, a Yoruba stock, are saying they are the owners of Warri, and the later-day immigrants, due to their sheer numbers, are weaponizing democracy and political backing as a means to totally erase the Shekiri from their homeland. So the scenarios have painted now. Are you still going to say that self-preservation is bigotry? Self-preservation actually means, let me repeat it again, protecting your language, protecting your culture, protecting your civilization, protecting your economy, protecting your politics. Because the most important thing any indigenous people, any indigenous natives, any native should protect is their politics. If you do not control your politics, if you do not self-preserve your politics, you cannot preserve anything. To the Yoruba content creators listening to me today, to quote-unquote, those who call themselves Yoruba Ronu, or quote-unquote, those who call themselves lovers of Yoruba identity and Yoruba culture. What exactly are you preserving if you do not preserve the political economy of the Yoruba people? You do not understand that politics is the most important thing ever. It's the most important power. Elon Musk is a trillionaire, the first trillionaire in the history of human race. I'm talking about trillionaire in dollar. Elon Musk is the richest, most powerful man in terms of financial power in the world currently. He's a white man from South Africa. But when he moved against Donald Trump, he was put in his place. Donald Trump might not be as rich in terms of money and dollars in the bank compared to Elon Musk. But Donald Trump has what Elon Musk will never have, because Donald Trump is the president. He has the political power of the most powerful country on the surface of the earth as I'm speaking now in 2026. This is how important it is. The importance of political power. Somebody who has political power can make a law that will make sure that all your billions, hundreds of billions of dollars is eternally locked up in the bank and you are not going to be able to get a penny. Babangida was the president of Nigeria. MK Abiola was the richest man in Africa, the richest black man in 1993. But when power speaks, money bows. The wealth of Abiola, the money of Abiola, could not stop the boots, the people with guns and bullets. I'm talking about Abiola, IBB, and Abacha. From not just destroying his political, his financial empire, they were able to use that power to destroy his entire financial empire. Political empire will destroy financial empire. That is why the Igbos understand that. When they brag that they control Lagos, but they understand that if they control the economy of Lagos without the political control of Lagos, it is useless. This is what the Fulanis understood right from the beginning of Nigeria, because they've been an empire-building people, and they've been one of the most successful Afro-Asiatic people that have conquered many kingdoms in sub-Saharan Africa. So they understand that without power, they are nobody. They understand. It is impossible for them to continue to maintain their ideology and to spread their own kind of civilization. So when you talk about self-preservation, the most important means of self-preservation is political power. It is good to talk about Gele. It is good to talk about Amala. It is good to talk about Shango. It is good to talk about Isheshe. It is good. You can talk about Agbada. You can talk about the glory of the language, of the Yoruba language. But if you do not have political power, you will be destroyed. Political power is extremely critical in any self-preservation. And I'm going to start breaking it down so that you can understand the importance of political power. And I'm going to be touching many places in the world so that you can understand the definition of self-preservation. Because after close to many years, decades, of this our crusade of Yoruba nationalism, of this our crusade of Think Yoruba First, of this our crusade of why Yoruba land, we must have self-ethno-linguistic federalism, where Yoruba land within Nigeria will be able to self-govern, just like Awolowo wanted. A lot of our people still do not get it. And the danger of this is this, because of the individualistic and arrogant nature of an average Yoruba man or woman. A lot of our people do not want to be told. They believe that once they have a bachelor degree or master's degree, and they can also go to the internet, they understand the A to Z of nationalism. And I'm going to start breaking it down. For the Christians that are listening to me, what Jesus told you is that seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Seek first the kingdom of God, and every other thing shall be added unto you. The kingdom means political authority. That's the definition of kingdom. A kingdom is a territorial space. It's a political space where you control. That's the definition of a kingdom. It's that you have a kingdom, you have a state or a province or a country or an empire. So they are all the same. So if you really want to control your kingdom, if you need every other thing, you need to have control of the kingdom. You need the control of that kingdom. The control of that kingdom is political power. I was talking about, so political power will give you prosperity, will give you good job, will give you good economy, will give you everything you need. It will secure the lives of your children. If you seek the life of your youth, it will protect the lives of your youth. It will protect your culture. It will protect your obas. Without political power, you will be destroyed and nothing will happen. Political power is the fundamental of self-preservation. If you don't have political power, you are a dead man walking. That is why you do not joke. A race without political power is a dead race. A race without political power is a conquered race. A race without political power is a dead man walking. So you need political power or nothing. Before you can be talking about you're talking about preservation. Before you can be talking about self-preservation. So that is why it is extremely dangerous. It is extremely unintelligent. It is extremely counterproductive for us to see anybody say, "Oh, I can be Yoruba, and I don't support Tinubu. I just want to talk about Yoruba culture. I just want to talk about Shango. I just want to talk about Isese. I just want to talk about Ewe Ategbo. I just want to talk about one other thing, Begiri and Ewedu. I just want to talk about Pupuru. I just want to talk about Marubo soup. I just want to talk about Kele. I just want to talk about Ashoke. I just want to talk about Yoruba language where there's no Yoruba, where there's no political power controlled by the Yoruba people. The worst of a Yoruba man controlling his fellow Yorubas is better than bringing an outsider to rule over you. Look at the case of Ilorin, where there's full-blown theocratic colonialism. Ilorin is the reason. Ilorin is a good thing that is happening in Yoruba land. So that it is going to be eternally, even when God finally helps us to rectify that evil. The generations for the next 1,000 years will continue to read how a minority can weaponize religion to destroy the majority. So you have to understand that. I was talking about what the Fulanis did when they got into Nigeria. The Fulanis were not looking for how they are going to become the vice chancellors of universities. The Fulanis were not talking about free education. They didn't run after that. The Fulani were not interested in building the biggest economy in Nigeria. They were not interested in good roads, all those things, all those English. The Fulanis were not looking for who is going to create the first political party in Nigeria. The Fulanis were not running after that. What they told the British was this: one, we want to dominate and control the majority political power in Nigeria. This is what we want. If you don't give us, we are never going to be part of Nigeria. They said it. That they will never be part of a Nigeria where they are going to have equal powers with the Yorubas and the Igbos, or where the Yorubas or the Igbos will dominate them in Nigeria. They said it. This is not a made-up history. This is the fundament. This is like the ABC of the colonial history of Nigeria. If you go and read books written by Professor Falola, Ethnic and Identity Politics, go and read about all this. It was written. And the Awolowo said, no, it's impossible. You're not going to dominate us in Nigeria by asking for more political power and more political representation. Awolowo understood what was happening. Bezik said, no. Oh, give it to them. We will agree. Let them have it. Because they don't understand. Yoruba people are empire builders. The Igbos are not empire builders. So they were just looking at what they were going to benefit from the moment at that particular moment, not looking at the bigger goal, which all of us are currently suffering from. So the Fulanis understood ethnic politics. So they understood political power as a tool, as the most important tool of self-preservation. It's not just political power is not critical. Political power is not important. Without political power, there's no self-preservation. That's it. So which is why it is dangerous. We saw what happened in Oshodi. The Igbo man that took over the House of Rep in Oshodi did not do anything wrong. He became the House of Rep in Oshodi. And what did he do? He started empowering his fellow Igbos. He's not stupid. He did what he's supposed to do because political power is to uplift and defend your race. When Esther, who was the wife of Ahasuerus, the emperor of Persia Empire, the king of Persia, what did Esther do? When his people were about to be killed and exterminated, the enemies of the Jews, she was able to use her influence as the wife, as a queen in Persia, to be able to lobby for his people to survive in Persia. If not, they would have been exterminated. That is why she was there. She was not there just to do me and my family. They are not like an average some Yoruba individualistic Yorubas who believe their wealth is not tied to their wealth and power is not tied to the self-preservation of their race. Who believe that their brilliance and their intelligence, their talents, their platforms should not be used in the defense of their race and empowerment of their race. We are the only people who behave that way. We are the only people who believe that if we go to Canada today and we become the Prime Minister of Canada or become the MP of Canada, we should not defend the rights and preserve the rights of the Yoruba people. That is where Kemi Badenoch is behaving the way he's behaving in the UK. She might be conservative, yet she lacks the Yoruba conservative ideology. The Indians will not do that. The Jews, if a Jew becomes the leader of the Tories in Britain, the Jews will never speak against a fellow Jew and destroy a fellow Jew publicly. It's impossible. Even at the cost of their his or her political career. So we need to understand that its political power is extreme. Political power is to liberate and bring your people out of poverty. Political power is extremely critical. And that's why what the Fulanis were able to do. They were able to use the political power to create this Nigeria in their image and likeness, where they've been able to attack and violate and destroy the secularism of Nigeria by bringing Sharia law. And that's why some people, some irritants in the southwestern part of Nigeria also believe they can destroy the secularism of Nigeria. And saying that Sharia law can coexist, theocracy can coexist with democracy. When advanced societies are building robots, AI, they're talking about AI, they're talking about drones, advanced technology never seen before. The world is racing, is going to something else. Some people and they've been able to separate religion from the state. China did it. America did it. United Kingdom, all powerful countries of the world have done it. What are they doing? What are some people doing in sub-Saharan Africa? They want to now bring theocracy into our society, where they will be banning our wives from coming out. They turn our women into second-class citizens and create parallel societies and create chaos and create war. When we cite examples of where this has happened, like in Sudan and in India, they don't listen. Because they are people under hypnosis. So it's self-preservation bigotry. If you are listening to me tonight and you are part of those who go about calling people bigots by saying, yes, I'm a Yoruba man before being a Nigerian, that's true. And you go about start harassing people, discriminating against our people, accusing them, cursing them, and even isolating them, persecuting them just for being Yoruba. The question I want to ask you is this. Are you going to tell the French Canadians who continue to say they will never give up their French language in Canada? Are you going to call them in Quebec and Montreal, Canada? Are you going to call them tribalists and bigots? Canada is generally an English-speaking country. But the history of Canada, there was a French part in Canada, Quebec and Montreal, which was conquered by the English. But after Quebec conquest, they refused to give up their indigenous language, their original language, which was French. To this very day, that is why Canada has what you call proper federalism. That is why the official languages of Canada is not just English, it's also French. So the question you have to ask yourself, again, brothers and sisters listening to me, are the French Canadians tribalists and bigots for speaking French? Because there is a diabolical ideology that some people believe that in order to be able to create a nation out of Nigeria, they must homogenize everybody's culture. They must erase everybody's identity. And I don't know how that can be done, except you are ready to kill as many people as possible. Which is why we want to say, we have been saying that self-preservation is not bigotry. You go to India, that is the biggest democracy in the world. India is the biggest democracy in the world. And in India, it is built on ethno-linguistic federalism. India is not like Nigeria, where you broke the Yoruba people into pieces. If you speak Malayalam, you are in a particular state. You speak Tamil, you are in Tamil Nadu. Many people don't actually know one of the most brutal civil war that happened in Southeast Asia was between the Buddhists and the Tamils, who are Hindus. It was a brutal war between these two groups that they fought themselves to a standstill. It was a brutal war between these two groups. And they are all in Sri Lanka. Until today, you are not going to tell the Tamil to stop speaking Tamil because you want to create one Sri Lanka. You cannot homogenize culture on the altar of, or you cannot homogenize culture on the altar of false patriotism. That's genocide. So there is no place in the world where you have real intentions, where you are going to say you want to destroy the right of indigenous people to identify with as who they are, or to even preserve their languages, to preserve their language, preserve their identity, and even control their political power. We can see what is happening in Western Europe. Western Europe, that has always been the beacon of liberalism, is throwing liberalism into the dustbin. And many people, many voters, especially youths in Western Europe, are becoming more and more conservative. Why? Because they've seen that not every culture can integrate. Some cultures will come in and create parallel society. Because how do you explain this? You come from a place like Somalia, where Islamic fundamentalism and extremism and religious intolerance has turned into a state of nature and a state of jungle. You now come into that society. You come into a Western and you ran away from that society where women are circumcised, where there's Al-Shabaab that have been wreaking havoc, that have killed hundreds of thousands. You ran away as refugee, you go into Western Europe. No country in Africa took you in as refugees. No country in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, with all their oil wealth, accepted you as into their country as refugees. You now go to a peaceful Germanic country like Sweden. After 10, 20 years, you bought your house, you became prosperous, you multiplied, you have quality health care, life that you can never get in the next 1,000 years in your Somalia homeland. What did you start doing? You start asking for Sharia law. You start creating ghettos where you are creating your own Sharia police. You start attacking the secularism of the Swedish society. You start turning the innocent Swedish girls and boys and turning them against their parents because you want to destroy that society from within. And when there was ISIS, what happened? Many young boys and girls of these immigrants left Western Europe to go and fight on behalf of ISIS. Now, the question you are going to ask yourself is, do you think everything is still going to be the same? It's not going to be the same. This is the aftermath that is even affecting innocent, hardworking immigrants who do not commit crime, who integrate into their whole society, who want to be even the Swedish than the Swedes, who want to be German than the Germans, and you are put everybody into trouble. People that have made their lives in Western Europe are now losing it because of the belligerency of some certain groups. And you now be calling them racist. They are not racists. They are not. You cannot continue to call white people xenophobic or racist. No. Or the case of what we saw in South Africa. When some certain groups and blocks in Nigeria went to South Africa to start crowning kings, and they were making noise and annoyance, and they went to the land of the Zulus to go and create a parallel kingdom. And they started creating, saying they want to create kingdoms. They came to the social media, to the media to start announcing, you are creating kingdom in the land of the Zulus. The people that killed the grandson of Napoleon Bonaparte, you went there and you are creating parallel kingdoms. What about is in Ghana? One way or the other, we don't know how you got your money. You made money. You bought hundreds of acres. You created a palace for yourself in another man's land, in the land of the gas. And you say you want to create another kingdom of a people that are not indigenous to that place. And when people stood up, you started accusing them of tribalism and bigotry. Is that bigotry? Is that bigotry? Is self-preservation actually bigotry, rhetorically? Can people answer that question? Or what should we call about the Fulanis? That all of a sudden, that the Fulani man mistakenly became the president of Nigeria under Buhari. And Miyetti Yala officially became the spokesperson of the federal government. Miyetti Yala will be justifying genocide. That yes, they killed people in Benue State because the people of Benue State killed their cows. And we saw another House of Reps saying, yes, the Fulani man, he can be angry and kill people because the life of the cow is very important to him. And they say, oh, they will not stop killing except everybody give up land that is up to local government. That the federal government is going to give them 200, 400 billions of naira in order to create cities. And they were able to rent influencers. They gave some of our people money. Fox intellectuals, criminally minded folks, people that will sell the grape of their mothers for money. They came into the social media and they started saying, oh, let us look at the economy of cow. Oh, it's going to create Nigeria use billions to import cow. How can you commonize the existence of a people, the existence and self-preservation of a people? How can you rubbish it and commonize it because you want to talk about cows? Because you want to talk, how can you believe that the right of a people to protect their land is inferior to cows? And the right of immigrant Fulanis that were never indigenous to this area called Nigeria. You now say it is more important than the survival of indigenous people. That's how we got here. That's how we got here. That's how we got into this state where everybody has now labeled even innocent Fulanis to be a terrorist sympathizers. And are you going to blame our people? You can't blame them. You can't blame them. Because how do you want them to react? Survival is the first key. No matter how diabolical you are, survival is the first law of nature. That's why it surprises me the level of docility of the Yoruba people, where you can intentionally see that some people are threatening to control your political power and you're not doing anything about it. That they will even be threatening, they will be threatening commissioners in Europe, they will be making us out of, they will be threatening our political elite in Yoruba land. And so all of a sudden, some of our political elites now think that the rights of indigenous people do not matter. So people should tell us, anywhere in the world, where the indigenous people have not been conquered, where there's no form of self-preservation. In the United Kingdom, an Englishman will not go to Scotland and say he wants to become the Scottish Prime Minister. Yet they are all British. They have freedom of movement. But you are English, you won't go there and say you want, because it is one United Kingdom, one nation. You know, you won't. Even they will tell you it's not one nation, it is 4 nations. United Kingdom is 4 nations. It is not one nation, it is 4 nations. The Irish, the English, the Scots, and the Welsh. Nigeria is even multiple nations where indigenous people are protecting their land. I spoke about what happened in the First Republic. In the First Republic, ethnic minorities were tactically erased from the surface of the map in Nigeria. That's why the concept of Wazobia is a genocidal nomenclature. And Nigeria still uses it. They will say, oh, we are using the national language, English, Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, and Pidgin. Where are the others? They've been erased. They've become invisible. They've been erased, they become invisible. So you have to understand that you cannot continue to play this kind. You cannot continue to think self-preservation. No, self-preservation is not bigotry. It's not. It is your fundamental of your existence. If you do not self-preserve, you are going to be erased. If you do not self-preserve, you are going to be replaced. And a land you cannot defend does not belong to you. The most important parts of any culture are the people. Now, I'm going to break it down. I know a lot of you are going to think the land. I said the land is very important. The most important part of a people of a civilization are the people. Let me give you this instance. If you take, when the English were taking, they left England and went to United States, they still remained English. And they turned United States to an English-speaking country. What happened to the indigenous people there? They were taken out. Even though the states like Oklahoma, Utah, are names of indigenous places in United States of America. Even though the land of the indigenous people, are still there, Utah, Oklahoma, in those places, it is still there. But I can tell you, the indigenous people no longer occupy that place. It has been replaced with another group of people. Darfur is the land of the black people. Sudan, means the land of black people. Sudan means the land of the black people. But that land can be there. It is the land of black people. But the black people have been replaced with Arabs. And that place has become Arab civilization. The people are the most important place. And for you to protect the people, you need political power. Which is why another person cannot control your political power, and you are going to say the land belongs to you. When some people say, oh, an Igbo man will become the governor of Lagos State, we will rule this land, it is an act of war. It's a declaration of war. It's a declaration of war. Because because the concept, you can't compare it to the United Kingdom, where the head of the government is the King of England. Kami Bednar can never become the king of England. It's impossible. You have to come from the Germanic blood. And that is the leader of the government in India, of England. It is impossible. Rishi Sunak cannot become the king of England. So when you see some of our people that have integrated, have pledged allegiance, go and look at when they saw him, the new incoming Prime Minister of England, Andy Bonham. He said, I swore to the King of England and his descendants. When they swear to the King of England. You have to swear to the crown because they own England. That is why anybody can come in, you integrate, you can still rise politically within the system. But the case is different because we run a republic in Nigeria. United Kingdom does not run a republic. And Canada and United States of America and Australia, that these people, these genocidal maniacs who hide under one Nigeria to propagate their diabolical ideology. Many of these people are hiding their diabolical expansionist Lebensraum and Folkism, Adolf Hitler, Nazi, fascist ideology under one Nigeria. Will not tell you that you cannot upstage the Japanese in their homeland, the Han-Chinese in their homeland, the Indians in their homeland. But in a secular colonial country, you can do that. But in continents, like old continents, like in Europe, like in America, and like in Asia, and in Africa, once you start pushing that ideology, you are going to destroy Africa. One of the things that is destroying East Africa is because of the war between the Bantus and the conquering Afro-Asiatic Cushitic people that came from the Upper Nile. I'm talking about the Tutsis, the nomadics, the nomads that conquered the Bantus in Rwanda, in Tanzania, and so many other places in East Africa. That we are black does not mean we cannot colonize each other. That we are black does not mean we cannot enslave each other. We are all blacks does not mean we cannot genocide each other. I don't know where this ideology comes from. It's coming from. That all of a sudden, because we are both blacks, we cannot kill each other. It's not true. Ukrainians and Russians are both Slavs. They've killed millions of each other for the past 4 or 5 years. That we are both Christians does not mean both Christian nations does not mean we cannot kill each other. The world wars was fought between mostly Christian nations. Ukraine and Russia are both Orthodox Christians. Yet they are killing each other. That we are both Muslims does not mean that we cannot kill each other. Yeah, we can kill each other. That's why you saw what happened. The Kurdish Muslims and the Arab Muslims in Syria. The Kurdish Muslims and the Arab Muslims in Iraq. The Bangladeshi Muslims and the Pakistani Muslims. After the disintegration of India, they killed millions of each other. They are both Muslims. This is the reality of the world. This is the way of the world. So it is a big lie to say because we are all blacks, we cannot kill each other. No. That people are both Asians, they have Mongolian features, does not mean they cannot kill each other. No. Mongolians and Chinese killed themselves they killed themselves after the Second World War. Even if you did the same ethnicity, it does not mean you cannot kill each other. That's why everybody needs to have eternal vigilance. You are talking about, so self-preservation is not bigotry. It is not bigotry. It is the most ridiculous argument. It is the most, I'm trying to watch my words. It is the most imbecilic argument ever in the world. When you say self-preservation is bigotry, how? Because without self-preservation, there's nothing called Yoruba land. If the Ibadan warriors that went to go and meet the jihadists at Oshogbo felt if they were listening to propaganda, they would have called it bigotry. And in Nigeria, the major set of people that are always using this ideology, this rage-baiting propaganda, are two sets. Two other people are always using it, like ethnic minorities that have nothing to lose. So they know, some of them believe that in the next 100 years, their ethnicity is going to go extinct. And they're not making any means in order to self-preserve their identity. Like the Lithuanians, what the Lithuanians and all these smaller ethnic nations did in Europe. Some of them are too lazy to do that. Some of them don't even speak their indigenous language anymore. They've adopted Pidgin English. So they come around and start telling major ethnic blocks that are over 100 million to also give up their ethnicity. It's madness, right? So that's their own problem. But the issue we have is there are two sets within Nigeria. The first set are the people that want to get access to the sea at all costs and they want to annex Lagos State. I'm talking about the Southeast nationalists. So those ones will always go about telling people, even though their 5 states is on lockdown, they control everything. Every year they are breathing their homeland. Their homeland is a no-go area. But they go about telling people what they don't practice at home. They tell people, do as we say, don't do as we do. And unfortunately, because the human brain, not everybody is intelligent. Not everybody is intelligent. It is the danger of democracy. I said the danger of democracy is that democracy rewards quantity than quality. That's why the worst of us are getting into power. That's why people, all sorts of ridiculous people, will also jump in front and be saying they're also Yoruba nationalists. That's why a lot of people that actually have no business having conversations with you will be questioning some of the things you say. That's why a lot of people that have nothing going on with them will be asking ridiculous questions about Yoruba nationalism. Because the worst of us are in politics. The worst of us are in political offices because politics rewards quantity over quality. And they know this. That's why all of a sudden, comedians, skit makers, content creators are now the new kings. Gone are the days people say they want to become doctors anymore. Everybody's now a content creator. Everybody. Because our society now rewards quantity instead of quality. They believe that a content creator has more quality in the society than a neurosurgeon. That is how damaged and destroyed our society has become. So those are the first group who go about accusing people that are practicing self-preservation, even though they are the masters of self-preservation. In the southern part of Nigeria, only 2 groups are the best when it comes to self-preservation: the Igbos and the Ijos. Nobody comes to those groups. The Igbos are number 1 when it comes to preserving their turf, preserving their land. They even say their land belongs to the gods. So they can't sell, so it is a no-go area. The Ijos, of course, we know what they do. They are even drawing maps on how they are going to conquer the entire coast of Nigeria. So what about the second group? The second group are the Fulanis and their allies, who go about accusing anybody who say, oh, why do you want to bring Sharia law into a secular country? The next thing they start telling you, you're a bigot. You ask another question. Why are the Hausa people not becoming emirs, political leaders and religious leaders in their own indigenous homeland? Oh, you're a bigot. In Islam, there's no tribalism. You say, no, that's not true. Under the Ottoman Empire, the Turkish colonized and subjugated the Arabs, even though they are both Muslims. Once you start doing that, they start going, oh, they are Islamophobia. If you are a true Muslim, you don't want to go to hell. You want to go to Ajana. Oh, stop listening to them. If you are listening to them, you are a fake Muslim. Oh, no Muslim has no be Yoruba Muslims has no business in Yoruba nationalism. That is the kind of thing they say about. That is the kind of propaganda they are pushing because you've been able to intellectually and ideologically destroy their propaganda. I'm sorry I don't mention it. They have no problem with the folks that are cursing Prophet Muhammad or attacking Muslims. They have no problem because they are going to say, you can see they're attacking our religion. You can say, oh, we told you that these people, Yoruba nationalism is for labor. That's why TYF is TYF. Don't compare us. Any organization we did not list on our Facebook. Don't say we are not doing the same. We are not. Because not only few, if you bring 100 institutions that are saying they are doing Yoruba nationalism, 95% of them don't understand what Yoruba nationalism means. They don't. In fact, they are destroying it. They are destroying it. That's why some people did not understand that no matter what is happening between the Alaafin of Oyo, the Oni of Ife, and the Oba of Benin, you must not come to the public, and if you believe in Pax Yorubana, Pax Urudua civilization, you cannot come, even no matter your biases, you cannot set ring lights and be openly defaming the Alaafin of Oyo, and be openly defaming the Oni of Ife, or be openly defaming the Oba of Benin, no matter what. If you think you are a Yoruba nationalist, you can't do that, except something is wrong with you upstairs. You can't. That's why you will never see any reasonable leader, a proper leader, Yoruba nationalist, join them in that vendetta. Once you do it, you've broken the code. So, going back to those that the Fulani nationalists and their allies, they call everybody Islamophobia. You cannot. How can you say you are a Christian first? How can you say you are Yoruba first? You must be Islam first, because the ideology of the Sokoto Caliphate is built on Islam first. When the minority conquered the majority. So how can a 10% of the population rule 90%? So you enforce the Islamic identity brutally while suppressing the ethnic identity. And you create an illusion that everybody is a brother in Islam, but all the economic, political power is in the hands of the Fulanis. The same thing happened in Rwanda. What is happening in Rwanda is not new. It has been happening for the past 500 years, ever since the nomadic Tutsis conquered the Hutus, took all the lands, and turned and created a socially stratified society. They created a caste system. Oh, there is no ethnicity. There's no ethnicity in Islam. Oh, there's no ethnicity in Islam. But why is it that only a Fulani man can become the emir of Ilorin? Does that make any sense to you? Does that make any sense to you? To you, the majority, 90% of indigenous people, Yoruba people of Ilorin, now you continue to say, oh, don't talk about it. Does that make sense to you? In a Republican setting, does that make sense? If you are a true born, if you are a free born, does that make any sense to you? Obviously, it doesn't make sense to you. But you've been threatened. You've been told you cannot talk. You've been feudalized. You've been mentally conquered. That's why I was talking to someone, because an ordinary black man believes that their strength is in their muscles. You see them carrying weights. You see them carrying weights. Mancho. They believe they can go 10 rounds when it comes to sexual escapade in the bedroom. But the reality is, the manhood might not be up to 2. Sorry, I'm speaking might not be up to 2 inches. But the brain, their mind can be a nuclear weapon. That's the bitter truth. The strength of the black man is strong, but the mind is gone. It is gone. That is why we have to continue. We are now coming to social media to be teaching self-preservation. The lions understand self-preservation. Animals in the bush understand self-preservation, but the Yoruba man don't understand it. How can you not understand self-preservation? How can you not understand self-preservation? How can you not understand self-preservation? How can you? How can you say you want to bring Sharia law into a secular society? How? And when we say, give us an example of where in Nigeria, you start cursing and start shouting Islamophobia. How? So self-preservation is not bigotry. It is the fundamentals of a survival of any society. Now, I'm about to round up. If you look at the world has changed currently, and there are so many superpowers, and the world is now reverting back into what it used to be 2,000 years ago. The world is not reverting into 200, 300 years ago. The world is reverting into 2,000 years ago. People don't know. So you have to look at, you have to look at Persia. Persia is organized around Persian civilization, Iran. You look at China. China is organized around Cynic civilization. You have to look at even Western Europe. America, led by America, is now organizing around Roman Empire civilization, Greco-Roman civilization. You look at Turkey. Turkey is not just using Islamic civilization. No, Turkey is Turkic Islamic civilization leading all the Turkic tribes in Central Asia and in Europe. So everybody is reverting along civilization lines. Everybody's talking. That's why I laugh when they say, "Oh, Africa can be a superpower." Africa is not a country. Can Nigeria become a superpower? You have to ask yourself, which civilization does Nigeria want to use? Is it the Yoruba civilization? Fulani Islamic civilization? Kanuri Islamic civilization? Is it the Igbo village republican system? So the question is, you ask yourself, or do you want to use the Christian civilization? Because we also have people that want to Christianize Nigeria. We are going to stop here because we spent with this 1 hour 30 minutes, and I hope I've been able to do justice to this. Self-preservation is not bigotry. It is not. We must understand that, and we must always continue to appreciate that. Thank you so much. I will hand over to the host and the co-hosts. Thank you so much, everybody that listened on Twitter, everybody that listened in every other place. We are so grateful. I'll grab a cup of water and waiting for questions and other submissions. Thank you.
Are Macheung. Thank you very, very much. This is a bombastic message. It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. Thank you very much. You shifted some people's mental health seriously tonight. Some comments are coming from 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 YouTube. It's so tough. It's so tough. Thank you very much. Ẹ̀yin ara wa láti orí Twitter. Mr. Stephen, báwo ni message àṣálẹ́ yìí?
Thank you very much, sir. It's a very important one, and it has come at the right time. You know, what you have said, what also Otoni, especially amongst the Yoruba people, what you said, Tabatini bachelor's degree, we believe we are educated, we believe we are sophisticated, and we don't care about these things. And if we don't learn from the past, there's a very good example happening in Nigeria right now. A group of people that were not indigenous to Nigeria now control, almost the whole north. We must learn so that we do not become victims in the future. I want to leave Yoruba land richer and more prosperous for my unborn children than I met it. So we must take into consideration this message. It's very important. Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Stephen, thank you very much for sharing your perspectives. Thank you very much. You're welcome back. Ṣé ẹ ti bú mi àbí? Ṣé ká bọ́ sí agbada kejì? Mo wà lórí space kan lónìí tẹ́nìkan ń sọ̀rọ̀. Look at Lagos. You say Lagos is this, Lagos is that. Look at erosion. Look at everything everywhere. This one, that one. And you say you are one Nigeria. We can't live together. I want it today, because they want us to live together and be together in peace. Wọn ò dárúkọ Abia State o. Olúọmọ, he was threatening people nígbà yẹn. Wọn ò dárúkọ ohun tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ọ̀dọ̀ tí wọn lọ́hùn o. I mean, everybody is just out to use the word, oh, you are a bigot, to silence us in Nigeria. So that when we now, okay, all right, mo ti gbọ́ kò sí jà mọ́ mi ní sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́. Meanwhile, they will keep pushing their own up. Because when we don't talk about you, they will never mention anything about themselves. They will never. And mostly, they're the ones that are backward. My people in Yarale, Yoruba will have a responsibility to preserve our language, our culture, and our traditional institutions. And what are the greatest threats to Yoruba identity today? What are the greatest threats? Globalization, politics, religion, or something else? Ẹ ká lọ rò ó. Ẹ ká gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa látòrí Twitter. Àǹtí Àníkẹ́, àǹtí Àjọkẹ́, àǹtí Àtilọ́lá. Ẹ̀yin arábìnrin ló kún gbogbo orí Twitter o. Ètò Àtilọ́lá tún náwó sókè. Ṣé ẹ̀ ń pé co-host nìyí ni? Co-host tún náwó sókè.
To say. I also have some things to say, but right, I need to hear from my co-hosts. Madam Lola, welcome. And this is our first time speaking on the space as a co-host, so I would love her to. I also have some things to say, but right, I would love her to hear from my co-hosts. Madam Lola, welcome. And I need to hear from her. You have something to say, ma'am. Ekalema, Madam Lola, are you there? Madam Lola, can you hear me? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank God. Finally. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to figure out how to, work this whole space stuff. And because of, I'm just going to take a little detour here. Because of all the toxicity over the past few years, I had to leave X. So I really came back to X because of you guys. And so I'm just trying to navigate my way through. Anyways, thank you, Are, for everything you said and for your passion towards the Yoruba cause. Yeah. My main issue is this. Shengbomi.
Loud and clear.
Yeah, I think our leaders in general, they have done us a terrible disservice by taking history out of our curriculum. I think more than anything else is what are we going to do to turn up the momentum? Agbọ́dọ̀ kàn ní nǹkan tó bá ń wọ̀n kan ṣe nílẹ̀ Haúsá, ilẹ̀ Ìgbò, nílẹ̀ Yorùbá láti Èkó dé wherever it is our boundaries láwọn Yorùbá wà. What are we going to do láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí educate the layman on the street? Gbogbo nǹkan tá à ń sọ yìí, gbogbo nǹkan tá à ń ṣe yìí, the layman does not have access to X. How are we going to start educating people?
That's okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Let me quickly.
Now, this issue of education, layman on the street,
can I answer that question?
Program. We need to educate people. It's a desperate situation on this issue of self-preservation and having pride in our own. Most importantly, and people need to be educated, because without education, we can talk from now to we are blue in the face. We are at war, And people don't understand it. And I saw something recently that somebody posted. They pay just the acting, pay your transport 500,000 voters registration card. Láti ilẹ̀ Igbo wá sílẹ̀ Yorùbá láti wá vote in the last election. It was an act of coup. It was a coup d'etat that failed. Nobody has been punished for it. Nothing has been done. These people that we are fighting against, they are not reasonable people. The more liberal approach that we are taking towards them, the nicer we are being, the worse they are going to get. Because when you talk to them like you want to have a conversation, you are making it sound like you are talking to people who are capable of reasoning like human beings. History has shown us that these are not people to be reckoned with. These are people that are unreasonable. On their best days, they are unreasonable people. And I think that we are treating all these things with kids. Why? What are our leaders doing about it? The fact that these people were able to do that, like bring 500,000 votes down to Lagos to vote. What has been done to rectify that issue going forward in this 2027 election? Because as far as I'm concerned, they are not tired yet, though. We cannot continue to have these discussions with these people. But more than that, what are we doing to educate our youth, our people, the layman on the street who will vote? And so, we need to have these discussions. But how are we taking the message to the grassroots, to our local governments? So that is what I would really love for there to be some kind of a task force where we start to address these things from the grassroots. We need to be talking. I mean, it is really a disservice. It is an act of hate to have taken history out of our curriculum. So that is my own contribution for now.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you for your observation and your contribution. I guess people down there have one or two to say. But before we move forward, I would like to, I think because we all speak English, and I would like to read to us the definition of bigotry. Maybe when we listen to this, we'll be able to decide if whatever it is you've been doing is actually bigotry. Bigotry refers to stubborn or unreasonable attachment of one's own beliefs and opinion, coupled with a fierce intolerance towards those who hold different views, backgrounds, or ways of life. This definition is not very difficult when you listen to it. And as much as I know, Yoruba people are not any of this, because we've accommodated people, we've opened our arms to them to come, and there is no way we are the bigots. Self-preservation is extremely important. And at this point in our political space, we need to know that self-preservation is everybody's duty. It is of course, collective. We have to all do this. But at this point, I think, I don't want to say this, we have to go the way of Jehovah's Witness. Preach the gospel to everybody. We might be having a more serious problem than we actually think, because there are a lot of people that have no idea what is happening. Somebody transferring 500,000 or over 300,000 voters card from their region to Lagos, for what exactly? And you want to tell me you are my friend? You are my friend, you want to rule over me, you want to dictate to me the portion I have in my own food. You want to tell me that, this food, this is mine. I'll keep it in my house, but I'll come to your house. Let's always share yours. I mean, even if you don't understand the message of, you don't understand nationalism, you don't understand the message of self-preservation. I mean, these are common things. I mean, simple English. As a person, there is no way every time you have your own food, your own money, you spend it alone. Then when I have mine, you want to spend mine all the time. Even as children would understand that no. So every time I have my own biscuits, you want to eat from it, and every time you have yours, you want to you want to hide it behind your back. You want to stay somewhere and eat it alone. These are simple English. And this is exactly what has been happening in our space. Just because somebody takes hospitality and being accommodating as weakness. So the minute we decide that you would no longer do this to us, then we become bigots. I've not seen anywhere a Yoruba person has forced their own beliefs and opinion on anybody. In fact, you come to our land and still tell us not to speak our language. It is that crazy. So you mean because English is an official language, I should not speak my own indigenous language just to make you feel better? Oluwatobi, welcome. Are you there? Oluwatobi?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. I would love to ask a question, but before then, I will say this. Èmi mo máa gbàdúrà k'Ọlọ́run bá ra TYF, kí TYF máa gbòòrò sí, then k'Ọlọ́run bá tún wá lọ́ra ààrẹ, because nǹkan táyà tún ó kọjá nǹkan téèyàn lè fi owó máa sọ pé èèyàn kàn sanwó fún. This is much more than, it is generational, and I pray God will continue to help ààrẹ. Will not falter and continue to go higher and higher. Are is somebody that we need to, and God is being us people alone, but Are is just special. It's just special. Are is a phenomenon. So, because of February, how do we tend to enlighten our own people so that they can know that this our thing it is our own. How do we enlighten our own people so that they can know that we are not in a country whereby let us come together, but we are not coming together now. We are trying to preserve our own so that we go.
I really
speak through your ex if you're there.
Yeah, or through ex and
Okay. Toby, the first step to self-preservation is knowing that there is a problem. Mr. Bakari, share sorry, sir. Toby, the first step to self-preservation. Mr. Bakari, share sorry, sir. Okay. The first step to self-preservation. I mean, we on this. Okay, sir. We on this stage. I mean, we all know being on this stage alone means that you know that we should be self-preserving, and we should be aware of what is going on in our political space. Of course, I can say everybody on this space now understands that there is a problem. The first step to self-preservation is understanding that you need to self-preserve. The first step to solving any problem is to agree that that problem exists. Now, that is the first step. Okay. You see, everybody needs to take this upon themselves and understand that the next person beside me needs to know that there is a problem. We need to talk about it. They need to understand what it means to self-preserve. You see, there are some simple questions that you just ask people. And this is what I do, like day in, day out these days. I just ask you a simple question. Just one of it, you are able to understand that this person has no idea what is happening in their society. So I already said it. Let's take this. Let's make this a kind of preaching the gospel thing. You are in outside. You are in school, in a party, at any chance you get. Talk to people. Ask them questions. Do you know about this? Do you know this? Have you heard about this? Because trust me, the people pushing lies and propaganda are working overtime. They are not joking. And the crazy thing is that our young minds are just coming up. Nobody's teaching them history. Our parents, even we, they didn't tell us anything because they want us to grow with free minds. The only thing they told us is to love our neighbors as ourselves. Unfortunately, our neighbors do not love us. We don't have friends. So please, the first step is knowing that there is a problem and knowing that you are a part of the solution. Madam,
Can I answer? I'm sorry, I'm back.
Yes,
I would
sir.
like to answer some questions.
Ẹni sùúrù ààrẹ fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀. Ẹni sùúrù ààrẹ fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀.
I think what we need to do
Ṣé wo gbọ́ mi ni?
every Saturday,
Ṣé ẹ̀ ń
every Wednesday
gbọ́
and
láti
Saturday,
ṣé ẹ̀ ń
Arema give lecture.
gbọ́ látọ̀dọ̀ wa ààrẹ fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ o.
Hello.
I am talking, somebody is muting me. Ààrẹ fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀. Ààrẹ fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ sẹ́.
The easiest you can do.
Ṣé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ mi mà? Ààrẹ fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀.
Ṣé ẹ ti ń gbọ́ mi báyìí? Can I proceed? Hello?
Go ahead, Ààrẹ. Go ahead, please.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Emma Bino, my network has been a little bit funny today. But I would like to say some things because I need to quickly say it. I'll first start from Madam Lola. You said something that scared me. You said because the kitchen was hot, you left the kitchen. So because the social media was hot, you had to leave this space for people that want to change narrative to exterminate. If all of us have left, are you going to be able to find something like this to be able to stand? The reality I'm not calling you out, ma. I just want every single Yoruba man to understand one thing. And there's a Yoruba proverb. Mi ò lè wá kú ò lè joyè ilé bab kò lè joyè ilé babẹ́ni. You can't. The word is for the tough. Expecting that your neighbors are going to be reasonable is the biggest mistake anybody can make in the world. There is no place on the surface of the heart. There's no superpower. When they say a country is a superpower, it is the people that are superpower, not the country. The greatness of a race depends on the greatness of the people. The greatness of a place is the greatness of the people inside it. So, if this kind of thing happens in the future, we must not depart, we must stay there and fight it to the last man standing. That's if Awolowo did not stand today, Yoruba land would have been become an extension, full-blown extension of Igbo land. The Igbo nationalists would have done what Japan did to China. That's what they would have done to us. That's number one. Number two, a lot of people underestimate the social media. A lot of people underestimate the social media. And I'm going to talk a little bit, so that's why I said I need to speak. Social media is the most powerful tool, and apart from AI, artificial intelligence. Social media is the most powerful tool in the 21st century. And people don't know the impact of social media yet. Let me tell you how powerful social media is. There has been many revolutions that has happened for the past 10 years that it was organized and spearheaded by social media. The change of government in Nepal, it was social media. The change of government in Bangladesh, I'm talking about 2-3 years ago. I'm not talking about 1950 or 1970 or 1990 or year 2000. I'm talking about 2021, 2022, 2023. Donald Trump became the president of America through social media. It was social media. The white nationalism and conservative movement across Europe is being driven not through the main media. It is through social media. The Arab Spring, it was social media that they used to organize themselves. And SARS was organized on Twitter. The Obedient movement was orchestrated and organized on Twitter. Anytime you see 1,000 people on a space, that means that message has reached close to 1 million people. People don't know how this thing works. It's a geometric progression. So if you're not taking social media serious before, you need to start taking social media serious and very powerful. Don't you see the new class of millionaires that are being produced in Nigeria? All those Pella, Kataefe, all those small DJ Chicken, they are millionaires. Many of them have 300 million, 500 million in their accounts. I'm telling you the truth. Many of you cannot afford to see governors. They see governors. You are seeing Kia is now a Nollywood star. Macaroni is now into Nollywood. They are now into Nollywood. Woli Agba, Deli Omo Woli. How did they become powerful? How did they become millionaires? It's through social media. In social media, this new class of skit makers and comedians, they are more richer than the likes of Alibaba and Basket Mouth. What made them millionaires? Social media. Anybody who underestimates social media actually is living in a la-la world. The social media is social media nationalism gave Peter Obi 6 million votes in the last election. How's this entire structure? Go and look at when he was campaigning? In the north, in the southwest, he didn't even have, you will see that there was no big, he didn't have anybody in his campaign rallies. But it was just mere 2 million votes that Asiwaju was able to defeat him. That's what social media does. It's extremely critical. So social media has created millionaires. If you want to sell a product, now let me tell you this truth. If you want to advertise a product, and you have two options. You want to go to AIT or you want to go and give Pella to help you advertise. Where do you think is going to work? Pella. Or you go and give VDM, Very Dark Man. That product will sell. So that is why anybody that is saying what is social media and the average man on the street, please forget about it. The average man on the street is on social media. If he's not on social media, the friends will tell him, they will give him information on social media. So this is the biggest platform that we can ever have to be able to speak. People that are here already on Twitter, at least close to 1,000 to 2,000 people are going to listen to us on Twitter. There are people watching us on TikTok. There are people watching us on Facebook. We have a aggregation after 1 week, close to 10,000 people are going to listen to us. One way or the other, right? There's a lecture, the last lecture I gave 2 weeks ago, restructuring the Fourth Republic. It's over 6,000 people, close to 6,000 people that have listened to it. Now, do you know the number, how big a stadium you are going to get to pack 6,000 people into that place, the logistics, and to be able to give them a lecture for 3 hours? 6,000 people. That is the size of a medium stadium, football stadium. Adamasiba Stadium is not just 20,000 in capacity. But thousands come here every week to listen to our lecture. It is going far. And many of us that are here, we knew how we started decades ago. I'm talking about at least a decade, 2010, 2011. We are going to have a Yoruba nationalist platform. We are not even going to be up to 6 or 7 in there. I remember, may God continue to bless those wonderful souls that we all started together. So we are going to be there. It's going to be an echo chamber where we talk about what is happening in society. But now, people are taking it over. It has now become a wildfire. If you see us speaking against certain people, is that we don't want this thing to be destroyed and bastardized. The biggest mistake the Igbos made was not to protect the obedient movement from IPOB. That was the biggest mistake they made. It was hijacked. And what they could have used as a leverage to get into Aso Rock, if they were consistent with it for the next 15, 20 years, they've lost it. So that's what we are doing and protecting, because this thing must be protected for the next 1,000 years for the Yoruba race. It's an eternal thing. It's a marathon. Which is why if you come in and say you want to be doing gig so that you can be able for 2027 election or 2031 election, we are not going to stop you. But I'm very, very sure one way or the other you will close shop and move away. You will close shop because it is if you do not have 6 lives or 7 lives, you can't do this. Because just imagine we bring one topic to next week, another topic, the same topic lands all every week. Kima Soro, I'm talking about I don't want to mention so that it doesn't like I'm attacking anybody. I'm talking about the same topic every week. People is like, what's this? Because many of us, we thank God for the mentorship and we thank God for the grace of God in our lives. God has prepared us for this eternal struggle and eternal journey. And I also want to say this, politicians. Question note down. And there are important topics questions that Berry. You are speaking on behalf of thousands of people that are listening to me, which is why I need to answer. And I'm begging the host and the co-host. Hey, Joe, for me time, yes, let's get down. Shall we continue?
I continue.
The issue about our politicians did not come from mass. They came from the people. The quality of the politicians cannot be greater than the quality of the people. The quality of the politician, in fact, our politicians are far better than some of these young politicians that are calling themselves APC progressive on social media. Have you ever seen many of our current politicians saying that they want to come and bring Sharia law, except people like extremists, like people like Shitu? And we know where it belongs. He has always been in CPC. He's an outlier. That's what he's going to become. You will never see our core politicians bringing religious politics openly, throwing caution into the wind. They are disciplined. Do you see these young folks in APC? The way some of these, even though they don't represent APC, I'm not attacking APC, they are just irresponsible maniacs. You call yourself Prince so, or so, you have interest in politics, and the next thing you do is to continue to create, to be pitching Yoruba Christians and Yoruba Muslims against each other, and you are openly advocating for an Islamic theocracy in a volatile society like the Yoruba land. So West is very sincere, and if people like us are not here, they are going to determine our future in the next 20 to 30 years. And you are going to say you run away from Twitter. That was the same mistake the secularists made in Iran. The Ayatollahs, they were not up to 20% of the population of Iran. But the secularists who were in the majority, many of them were either killed and many of them ran away as exile into Europe, never to be able to come back to their homeland. Many of them, go and look at American universities, Canadian universities in Europe, the best physicists, mathematicians, professors across different places. They can be best doctors, they can excel individually, but they will never be able to step home again. Because some people took power, because they were shy. People don't actually know that the ability for freedom of worship, separation of religion from the state, secularism, it was not gotten by being by good words of the mouth. It was gotten through war. People went to war to say, I want to be able to practice my religion in peace. That was why America was created. Most of the people that went to America were people that were running away from the control of the papacy, of the Pope. They were tired of the Pope controlling their life, the Mormons. The Calvinists, the Lutherans. They ran away from England. Many of them, some of them ran away from England. Like they don't want to be under the control of the king anymore. That's why America was the birthplace of Pentecostalism. So because they don't want to be under the control of any religion, that's why they call it the land of the free. They went to war in order to be able to get these things. Ogun ni wọ́n jà náà fi achieve. Only America fi achieve to achieve. So when you now come around and you see some people threatening the secularism of Nigeria, of Yoruba land, and you think you just want to keep quiet. No. We will protect the secularism of this land. That was what our forefathers did. Lọ́ṣogbo. Ibi tá a rí yanjú ló fi di pé wọn ò jẹ́ káwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe practice religion wọn ní Ìlọrin. Burning their house. Ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ rí pẹ̀lú gan bá wọn gan, wọn ò lè jáde bá ṣe mọ́ ṣe ní north. Tó dáa kán wọn lọ́wọ́ kò. What they use is now to continue to label and be trying to use the fear of hellfire to keep people in bondage. Don't use hellfire. Is it your hellfire I want to go? Go there. You don't go. You won't go to my own hellfire together. You won't. So don't stop using hellfire to be able to start trying to control people, because that's phobia. So what we want is a prosperous society like China, like Singapore. Go and do your religion in your house. Everybody must be able to practice their religion without interfering with the state. What will determine your political prowess in Yoruba land is how patriotic you are in order to better the lives of an average Yoruba man. Not how much. Prayer and fasting 7 days. Prayer and fasting. Biri. Now, how do we get this message? No, when Russia, the Russian Empire invaded Lithuania, one of the things they did was the Russification of Lithuania. They wanted to exterminate and erase the Lithuanians. They could not use their language. They could not use their culture. All their professors were driven underground. Do you know what they did? That was where the term book smugglers came from. So they now took their books, because they were burning their books. They were killing their intellectuals. They were not keeping their books so that their identity will not go extinct as a people. Until Lithuania kekere yẹn tó ṣe ìdíyẹn o, 200 years ago, nígbà tí wọ́n face extermination as a race. Now Lithuania is an independent country. They fought for 200 years in order to be able to free from Russian aggression. To that, there are countries kékèké to join NATO. Wọ́n ti tọ́ ikú wò. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé ikú ni àwọn wá ikú dẹ̀dẹ̀ ìgbòlélẹ̀. The Yoruba people, with a well-organized network, kí TYF, kí Olódùmarè bá gbé TYF tó yẹ kó débẹ̀, ṣẹ́pẹ́ ká ṣe yẹn a máa ṣe. Without the help, Sherry, which is gbọ́dọ̀ fojú, gbọ́dọ̀ dúró de àwọn politicians wa mọ́ fún anything mọ́. Ìran tó bá fẹ́ progress ò gbọ́dọ̀ bó sọ pé àwọn politicians yín la máa ṣe. No. Your politicians will come and join you later. Ìgbà tá bẹ̀rẹ̀ TYF, self-preservation, Yoruba Just or Yoruba people, all those things, TYF bẹ̀rẹ̀. Our politicians ló wá join wa later. Kò ń ṣe pé àwa lọ bá àwọn politicians. Which is why TYF will continue to go back to the basis. That our strength, we respect our political elite, our strength will continue to come from the Yoruba people, both home and abroad, in order to get this done. Because I won't know what to break yoke feudalism in Yoruba. So we don't need to go and be sucking up to politicians again. The Voxi Populi, Voxi Dehi. The voice of the people is the voice of God. So, Madam Lola, you must down Google question, because you must be able to understand this fundamental, man. That with little, you can change the world. With little, you can revolutionize the world. With little, nobody can be able to stop your voice from getting outside anymore. May Olodumare continue to help us. Eshe.
Àmín àṣẹ.
I couldn't hear her. And I know a lot of people on YouTube might not be able to hear her too.
Ààrẹ iṣẹ́ wo kámẹ́rà yín?
Wọ́n wo.
Àwọn ará òkè nìyẹn, àwọn ará tó wà lókè. Kí lẹ tán wò yẹn? Fọ́tò yín nìyẹn lórí tẹlifíṣàn. Gbogbo wọn live náà every Saturday ni o, gbogbo ilé ló ń wò ó. Náà ń wo TYF. Adúpẹ́ ní ọwọ́ Ọlọ́run, adúpẹ́ ní ọwọ́ Ọlọ́run. Iṣẹ́ ti padà wá? Ok, wọ́n ti padà wá.
Mi ò gbọ́ wọn o, ṣẹ́yìn gbọ́ wọn?
Ẹ mọ̀ gbọ́ wọn sìn, ẹ kí n gbọ́ wọn sórí.
Gbọ́ wọn àtọ̀.
Ẹ máa rí.
Let us bring it to the space every week.
Can you
because
hear
a
now,
lot of people are not aware of it. It's actually very nice. If I can please send the link to Luminary Radio, is Luminary Radio FM actually. So we need to circulate that more and let it go far. I'm pretty sure that the app of all of this thing is coming soon and people can actually download it.
Okay. We wanted to wait.
So
Luminary Radio
from, but it's very disruptive. So, but that's my message.
Okay. I'm going to be bringing the link or the Luminary Radio link to X. I'll post it and I'll put it on Jumbotron and also post it on the TYF handle. Okay. Madam Lola,
yeah, just one quick thing. No, like I just wanted to say quickly. I think there was that gentleman, was saying something about, I don't know what the question was. I think he said, how do we practice self-preservation? I think that was what he asked. Now, one of the encounters, they claim bigot they were for thinking Yoruba first or trying to protect our space. One example, I will be carried by the knock. Rishi Sunak. At least they are not from Britain, they are not white, and Rishi Sunak became prime minister. Kemi Badenoch is now a conservative leader. And the truth of the matter is that I think Britain owes them that, or us that, because Britain colonized us, and Britain actually took a lot from us, our wealth and everything. So we are part of the Commonwealth. The question you should ask those people is, ṣé Yorùbá colonize wọn àbí kí la jẹ wọ́n gangan tó fi jẹ́ pé wọ́n fẹ́ bá wa ta tán lórí nǹkan wa? Is a good question. And self-preservation as well, because you have to understand that we all know, they know we all have a right to self-determination. We have a right to exist, and we have a right to be the ones to write the terms and conditions under which we exist and take visitors. That is not bigotry. That's just my 2 cents for the gentleman that was asking. Because sometimes you need talking points for these people. We are not Britain. Shengo, Jay, anything we don't hold the rest of Nigeria anything. If anything, we are giving more than what they've ever given to us. So we are not Britain. We are not a Commonwealth that went to their places and conquered them. We never did that to them. So why do we owe them our space like that? So, and the last one also for the whole Nkwemokro on Twitter, the point is that when you live in the West as well, what happens is that I'm fighting the obedience on the one hand, and then you are fighting white supremacists on the other hand, because I'm going to get involved in all the political discussions, And so that was the reason why it wasn't even just only because of Nigerian politics. It was just a lot going on at the point, with all the things that have been happening in the world. And, that was really it anyway. So I just said I should clear that part as well. So thanks.
Okay, Eshe, Madam Lola. I hope you picked one or two from the things she said. It's going to be helpful. Madam Ajoke, Mr. Femi, please request the mic and come back up. Madam Ajoke, are you there, ma?
Thank you. Are gbogbo wa. Ọmọ Yorùbá kúnkún gbọ́ yín. Bí mi ṣe máa sọ ọmọ Yorùbá ń gbọ́ yín. Púpọ̀ lára ọ̀rọ̀ yín kedere. Ọmọ Yorùbá a máa mú lò. Ó ti di dandan. Because tá bá fẹ́ wò, there is a problem. Our self-preserve. Because tá bá wà self-preserve, wò nínú Nigeria. Both physical and mental, physical safety and mental peace. Shani. Because tó bá yẹ pa ní mental peace and physical safety, ọmọ Yorùbá o, ní máa wá ṣe nǹkan tá à ń ṣe ìta máa pariwo self-preservation. Wọ́n tún ti ṣe lékìn gbogbo nǹkan tí wọ́n ń ṣe fún wa yẹn. Wọ́n ní máa ṣe. Tá bá wá wò, wo gbogbo Nigeria, ethnic group wo ni wọn ní physical safety àti mental peace lórí ilẹ̀ wọn. Tàbá ti gbé títà àwọn náà tí kò ń bẹ̀, àwọn náà mọ bọ́n ṣe ń ṣera wọn ní òun kò kan wá. So, ọmọ Yorùbá a gbọ́dọ̀ yẹ kó yé wa pé self-preservation fundamental duty wa ni. We just have to. It's a fundamental duty for us. It's a right. It is our right as well. It's a human right. Most essential instinct here ni fún safety wa àti mental peace wa, because I need the àlàáfíà. Ó ṣe pé a máa gbọ́kàn sókè, bá ṣe ń gbọ́kàn sókè. Because we have people tó ń bá wa drag nǹkan tó ń ṣe tó ń jẹ́ títí wa. And it's only when we are self-preserved Lama wa allow láti function from the place of strength. Without, self-preservation, they function properly from the place of strength. So self-preservation, once again, fundamental duty one. We just have to self-preserved. So we should be able to say no. Enough is enough without guilt. Agbọ́dọ̀ so. Èèyàn kan bigot, èèyàn kan what's the second one? That is man pè wá náà.
Tribalistic.
With full chest ni o. Yes. Tó bá ti jẹ́ pé tó olórí ilẹ̀ wa ni. Àwa ní anybody lára now. Wá lọ anywhere lọ ní anybody lára. Then why us? So the definition of Madam Anike, so definition bigotry lekon, which does not apply to us. But to buy a thing, got off my friend guilt trip one here. Oh, well and good. Sunday, we go come back if you buy goats.
Maybe we should all print the definition of bigotry on a T-shirt and put it on. So
I don't think these people they don't care.
And then I'll
actually know.
Anything on you.
Madam Anike, one more. Yeah, it is just to guilt trip. One more. I mean, one about when you should wash a man shilling. Off is silent and when you want on. But it's not left for us. And stop letting my push back, no. Then we should be able to say no. Incoming. Kini incoming. Ode yato si inkontiwa. Ile Yoruba. Onse Nigeria. Lájọ ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ni. Because the same thing, lóníkálukú ń ṣe àlè dé ọ̀dọ̀ àwọn èèyàn yìí ká ṣe anyhow. You cannot. Tọ́mọ ní pé àwọn olórí tán wà self-preserved, àwọn people yìí la máa mú number one. Àwọn ará South East tó yẹ pé àwọn ọ̀gán náà fẹ́ fi báírò fi ní ọ̀dọ̀ wa lára our political space tó ń ranjú mọ́ tó ń ṣe gbogbo èyí. You don't try those things with them. You don't even ní gbìyànjú ẹ̀. Kò sẹ́ni tó ń gbìyànjú ẹ̀. After one fẹ́ purọ́ fúnra wa, Fúlàní disturb eléyìí níbí, wọ́n kó màálù síbí, wọ́n kó màálù sọ́hùn. Fúlàní dare not. Lè díẹ̀ wọn.
Ẹ ṣe gan ni o.
Kò sẹ́ni tó ń díẹ̀ àwọn. Then why would anybody actually dare us? So a gbọ́dọ̀ wà láti sọ pé enough for anybody. Because orí ilẹ̀ wa ni. Why beg anybody lórí ìwọ ilẹ̀ wọn now? Tó bá jẹ́ Nigeria and then you're owned.
Some Yoruba enjoy self-preservation. In fact, ó yẹ kó jẹ́ òun ló yẹ kó jẹ́ number priority gan ni fún wa priority ni. Because in political philosophy, kò sí nǹkan tó jẹ́ pé bóyá nation one abstain from self-preservation coexist. Any nation tó bá try it, they will go in existence. Ọmọ kúrò lórílẹ̀ ayé ni. So we just have to self-preservation. Very, 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 very essential for wa. It's very, very important. Number one. We have to self-preserve in everything. Don't jẹ́ Yorùbá. Thank you so much. Madam Anike. Madam Ajoke, Goma. I really appreciate your contribution, and I hope that the people listening are taking notes, because we as Yoruba people, I know we are a people of love. We are kind. We are beautiful people. We want to be nice to everybody. We want to fight for the right of others. We want to say, oh, this person is not being treated right. I want to fight for them. Why are you treating them bad? But please, not at the detriment of your own people. You cannot be at a disadvantage while you are trying to give an advantage to somebody else. Mr. Babatunde Ekabosa Ekale, manager, please request the mic and come up. I think you want to say one or two. Hello. Ekale, Mr. Babatunde, Mungboyin, sir.
Well, Lati sermons in my way, because the government want to pray, because I never preached. So I usually like to enjoy his sermons when he preaches, and it spills a lot of knowledge and facts and historical and current realities of the Yoruba people, or the Yoruba nation, and the world politics as a whole. So the last time mo bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ ní Ethiopia, I think that was about 2 weeks ago or so. I break down, he broke down Ethiopia very well, and the realities and politics of that nation, of that country. No, it's not a nation, because Ethiopia is a country of many nations, just like Nigeria. So, bí mo ṣe bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí sí Australia mo wà. It's a padà sí ìlú mi. This is my second home, and I'm back in Australia. So, Australia is a perfect example of how a true federation should be. Our country should be truly federated. Australia is about 6 million square kilometers, almost the size of America. But it's a continent, it's a gigantic island continent. The population of Australia up to 26 million. And the country is constituted in about 6 states and 2 territories. So our 6 states here include Western Australia, include Victoria, include Queensland, include New South Wales, even in Sydney, Victoria, even in Melbourne, Western Australia, even in Perth, Queensland, even in Brisbane, Adelaide, South Australia, Tasmania is a state. Hobart is the main city near Tasmania. So 6 states and 2 territories. So the number 1 territory is the Northern Territory. Number 2 territory is the Australian Capital Territory, ACT, that is Canberra. Now, Claude doesn't count on territories, doesn't count on any states. Very simple. The main reason why territories is because they are not able to produce enough taxes within that territory to fully run those states or those territories. Well, they still depend on the federal government to fund or to run some of their some of their expenditure. So for that reason, they do not enjoy the benefits of what a state would be or what a state is, because we're fully funded by themselves. They depend on funding from the federal government. So they're not it's not a state, Northern Territory. Because I remember why did they call it Northern Territory? That's a simple reason. Now, in the case of Nigeria, it's the opposite. When you have the center funding states, funding the federating units, that in itself is an aberration to what federalism is or what federalism should be. So federalism that we run in Nigeria is opposite of federalism. It's more or less a unitary system. We're beginning at it more already. We know of it already, so there's no need me, saying much about it, but it's just to give you an idea of what a federal state should be. And what
Mr. Babatunde, we don't have much time, but I hope you can round up in some 30 seconds.
I can round up. I'm full ideas of a federal what a federation should look like. It was South Africa down in South Africa itself is a federal state. Cape Town. Western Cape is the province where Cape Town is situated. We will not develop to South Africa. Anyway, the movement is on the way. I read some on pay. I got to draw down politicians that the president push for a got affair. The president suggest right about Ashwajuma Warrior second term. How can we constitute a movement? So, whether through social media or obviously through social media, how can we constitute a movement like Occupy, like the Occupy Gaza?
Mr. Babatunde, a movement is not anywhere close to whatever TYF stands for. And yes, we need nationalism, but nothing like a movement. Okay, I hope you are able to understand that.
What I'm trying to say is that nationalism can also be a movement. I don't think we
don't call it that name. Nationalism is nationalism. A movement can start and end, but nationalism remains forever. Whether we wait for our politicians, we have a new political party, we just have to keep on doing nationalism. As long as Yoruba land exists, nationalism will continue to exist. But a movement can start and end. So
let me rephrase that thought. So a nationalistic, a movement that is based on Yoruba nationalism. That's what I'm trying to, because I'm trying to Mr.
Babatunde, I think you should listen more to Are's video and some of the videos where he talked about maybe restructuring or things like that. You're going to understand some of the things he has said and what TYF actually stands for. We don't do anything movements. We are not a revolutionaries or revolutionary people or whatever. So we don't have that much time today. I would have loved to talk more.
Maybe I can quickly answer that.
Yeah, but we need to end this space like very soon.
Yes, the money can land it, Professor. My understanding what I'm trying to push. So I understand your logic, and I've heard that before on this forum. But what I'm trying to say is that how do we, because TYF is a I would say it's a think tank for the Yoruba nationalism. I understand what TYF is about. However, what I'm trying to say is that how do we push for restructuring? And what I'm trying to say is that if, For example, bí àwọn obedient movement obedient push the obedient
Mr. Babatunde, you are not getting it. What you want to say is we should organize ourselves, but nothing like a movement.
Okay, so let us organize ourselves then. Okay, maybe I'll use a different word. Let us organize ourselves. Once Ashwaju is re-elected and is the second time in office, let us organize ourselves in Lagos, in Ogun, in Oyo, in Oshun, in Ekiti, in Kwara, possibly even Kogi, in
Okay,
Kogi.
let me come in. Let me come in. Where are you based, sir?
Go to the state House of Assembly.
Can you hear me?
A federation.
Mr. Babatunde, hear me, please.
Mute, but Mr. Babatunde still on so.
That's just my thoughts. Can you hear me?
Yes, he can hear you, Aaron.
Okay, where are you based?
Can you hear me, please? That's just my thoughts. Can you hear me?
Yes, he can hear you, Aaron.
Okay, where are you based? Can you hear me, please? I'm based in Melbourne.
There's a re-echo. Please, the studio won't re-echo.
Yes, he can hear you, Aaron.
I'm based in Melbourne, Australia.
Oh, very good.
All right, Twitter. Aaron, please hold on. It's not about Twitter matter or not Twitter, okay? Oh, gosh. The thing is that that's in X. There are too many mics that are on simultaneously, so it's giving too much of echoes everywhere. So let somebody's mic be on so that
Okay. So, firstly, Mr. Babatunde should personally DM me, because I would like to take it off from there. That's number one. Or you can DM any of the moderators, and you can reach out to me. Please, I'll be waiting. That's number one. Number two, TYF is not a think tank talk organization. We have branches in Oyo State. We have branches in Lagos State. We have branches in Delta State. We have branches in Edo State. We have branches in Kogi State. We have branches in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. We have branches in Kwara State. We have branches in Kogi State. We have branches in Benin Republic. We are in Ghana, across the Francophone world, and we are all over the world. So that's the first thing I first want to clarify. So we are all over the world. So I am begging, I just want you to know that, so that what you're suggesting is good, but we already walked past that that. So hopefully before the end of this year we'll be in Australia, because a couple of our brothers have reached out to us. TYF has been working, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So when you talk about organizing, we've been organizing for the past 15 years. And we've organized, it's one of the most difficult things to do is organize. So that's why I said, come on board so that you can properly see what's going on. So what you see here, for instance, the people that are hosting, those are TYF Germany, TYF Europe, Luxembourg. We have TYF Ireland, TYF Europe, part of the people that are hosting and co-hosting on Twitter. There's TYF United States of America on here. There are people from Birmingham here, United Kingdom. So that's how we are, and something that is just centralized. These are structures decentralized now, different rules and objectives within for the essence of community building and community networking on across the world. I hope that answers your question a little bit, Mr. Babatunde. We can't hear him. We can't hear him on. We cannot hear him on in the studio, Mr. Bakare.
I'm talking to you on Twitter. So, yeah, so I haven't been out there, and obviously, has done a very fantastic job. If you are situated in all the states you've mentioned and all the countries that you've mentioned, so that definitely shows, the thought behind who I am and the purpose behind your message, which is fantastic. But what I've said and what I still maintain is that we need to go beyond just having this sort of things. We need to have boots on the ground. Like
There's boots on ground. Mr. Abatunde, please reach out to me. I think it's just you're just coming across. Is that the last person I want to speak? There's boots on ground.
Mr. Babatunde, you need to reach out to Are or any of us, the official do or anybody, because the way you speak looks like you're just coming across us. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you've been hearing TYF, but you've not really been paying a lot of attention to us, please. We expect you. We want you to come on board. Please reach out to Are. You can reach out to him on his personal handle. And so for tonight, we've already spent lots of time, and would like to leave, and I'll be handing over to the people in the studio. Mr. Bakari.
So, Aunty Anike, ṣé ń gbọ́ mi? Okay, good. Good, thank you. Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Oníyàn ṣe, ọlọ́bẹ̀ ṣe. Ẹ ṣá. We thank everybody for coming to the space tonight. And as we bring tonight's discussion to a close, I will appeal to us. Let us leave here with one important thought. Please, I'm getting feedback over there from X. It's echoing. Every enduring civilization has one principle in mind, and that's what we Yorubas should keep in mind. A people who do not preserve themselves cannot expect others to preserve them. A people who do not preserve themselves cannot expect others to preserve them. Ní ìgbà tí Mídúbẹ̀ ti bẹ́ẹ̀ sí ń pariwo, ayé mà bá wọn pariwo. Ìgbà yẹn wọ́n dákẹ́, wọ́n máa ń dákẹ́ for the past years, decades. Báyìí ṣe máa dákẹ́ náà ní kò sí máa dáhùn. Nobody cares. Are has taught us one time, the world is not fair. Nothing is fair in this world. Nothing is fair. So, Ma'arowa, that we should do all we can to preserve ourselves. Self-preservation is not about hatred. It's not about denying anyone's humanity or right. Rather, it's about accepting the responsibility to protect your heritage, strengthen your institutions, preserve your language, and ensure that future generations inherit a people who still know who they are. Mi ò mọ state nílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà tí wọ́n ti ń ṣe NBA, Nigerian Bar Association, tí wọ́n á lọ sọ fún state yẹn pé ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ pín. Ìgbà tí wọ́n máa pín tèkó ẹ̀ bíbó làwọn ọ̀gbà ò pé àjọ máa pín. Wọ́n lè pín àwọn ará Yorùbá tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀, wọ́n lè pín gbódọ́gbadọ́gba. Tó wá dé ọ̀làǹsìn tó ń gbé nìkan wọlé tí ò gbà ti Yorùbá bẹ̀ sì máa pariwo. Wọ́n á gbàgbé ńgbà kan ní May June 2026 tó ń gbé kádàrá wọn tó ń gbé lọ́wọ́ ọmọ náà. Ìgbà tó ń yan ọkùnrin ní Òṣòdì bí eré náà pé wọ́n bẹ̀ sá ń pariwo wọ́n sì ariwo kì í resolve kankan. Ìbá ṣe pé wọ́n fẹ́ ní kọ́ pé ẹni tó máa wọ́n fẹ́ dá state ní National Assembly tó ní okùn tó wà ńlẹ̀, ṣé èrò pé ọkùnrin yẹn máa ní kán dá anything fúnlẹ̀ Yorùbá jí kẹ́ máa sùn. The Yorubas have always been known for hospitality, tolerance, enterprise, and openness. These are virtues our forefathers left for us, and our parents are teaching us today. And we are still teaching our parents and teaching our kids to uphold. But openness should never require the abandonment of your identity. And tolerance should never become indifference to our own future. History taught us that societies endure not because they welcome everyone without thought, but because they find a balance between coexistence and continuity, between respecting others and preserving themselves. So perhaps the question is no longer whether self-preservation is bigotry. The real question is, if a people do not intentionally protect their identity, their culture, their institutions and collective interests, what will remain for the next generation to inherit? May tonight's conversation, as delivered by Are, inspire us not to fear our identity, but to understand it, strengthen it, and pass it on with wisdom, justice, and confidence. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yorùbá ò hate anybody o. Ní inú ibi ní sẹ́nikẹ́ni. Ohun tí a kàn sọ ni pé fún wa ní ọ̀wọ̀ wa. Ẹ wá kẹ́ wá ṣòwò tó ilẹ̀ wa. Elédùmarè tó dá ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ti sọ pé ilẹ̀ tó máa kún fún oyin àti wàrà ni. Ní tó bá dé wá tó bá ṣe òwò lórí ilẹ̀ wa, ó máa ṣoríire. Ṣùgbọ́n àní kó wá gba ilẹ̀ wa mọ́ lọ́wọ́ o. Àní kó wá di gómìnà fún wa o. Àní kó wá di senator o. I need enough people to do all these things for us. Ó dàárọ̀. Ẹ gbádùn orin wa ká tó máa lọ.
Àwọn bàbá ń dúró dè wá. Ilẹ̀ tí a jogún kì í ṣe títà. Ìran tí ń bọ̀ wá. Ọmọ Yorùbá jí kúrò nínú oòrùn. Àkókò ti dé báyìí. Tí a bá fẹ́ ọjọ́ ọ̀la rere, a gbọ́dọ̀ rántí ara wa. Ilẹ̀ ìsọ̀lọ́.